Okay, let's see. My mic was doing something funny, or I wasn't turning it on. That's what it was. I didn't turn it on. Okay, let's see. What are we doing today? Okay, today we are back on. We're back on the Jeep, the Jeepy thing. What we're gonna do is let's open this up a little bit. I think we can delete all that. What we're gonna do is we're gonna finish up this rear part here. Let's go back to this style. I want to repaint all this stuff. For some reason. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Let me get to that a little later, but let's talk about what we're doing here. We're going to finish this rear section here. There's going to be an engine here that I started to build. And there's four engines. Two on each side, one for each wheel. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in here. But this is the engine compartment for the rear, and here we have the engine compartment for the front. And what we're doing here is going to make sure that this undercarriage and the rear part especially here is covered. This is going to have a wheel spare lug. This whole hatch will drop down. The window will pop up, I believe, although we won't be able to with this design currently. You know what? We're going to do two things. We'll have this swing, and then this wheel come down. So, and then the other thing, we're going to do that. We're going to probably do that, keep that as simple as possible. But, you know, I'll probably make it as complicated as unnecessarily complicated. So, and then we're going to head back into the cockpit, into the dashboard, and build this out. I'm going to rethink this steering wheel, or a little bit give this some thought, because I have some reference that I want to kind of plug into. Partly what I want to do for this vehicle is to make sure that this is separated from the other types of vehicles, the AI driven vehicles, as well as machines in this world. So I want to, part of it is also want to make this a little bit more otherworldly and sort of the spacey element. And what I mean is by this. This is a great example of that. So this kind of details these kind of elements, and and this kind of, this is, I love this. Okay, so we are probably going to build something pretty exact, highly influenced by this tray. Looks like it, I have no idea what this does. So, but it looks like it, this is probably some telemetry, some data entry, I'm sure there's, and then this flips, looks like it flips up. And this is probably the locking mechanism for that. And so that prevents that from being hit. But it blocks some of the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'll design something like that. Probably for this section here, I'm going to remove that. And then I am, this is this section here where it looks like it. And then kind of these switches. Now I could probably find these switches in elements on 3D Warehouse. And I'll probably do some search for that just to get these little inspired switches. And I'll probably put a little guards on them and stuff like that. So there's probably, I'd imagine there's a ton of that stuff on 3D Warehouse, but we'll go into that when we get there. What we want to do is make sure we do this first. But what I want to do is the coloration, the materials on these tires and stuff is distracting me. So I want to make sure that we're I'm just going to unify them because why are they doing green? That's weird. You know, sometimes the material stuff doesn't act like the way I expect it to act. And this is exactly what I mean, and I don't understand why this is. That worked. Is there something I'm missing here? What's going on here? Yeah. That didn't help. Is there a way to default material? Yeah, that's what it's solid colors picking that. But I want it to be this. It's not allowing me. It's so weird. Okay, so what if I did this? And then I did this. Is it because this default material is not an actual material? Do not know. I'm not a materials guy, so I don't really address this stuff. haven't really dealt with this stuff. There we go. That was weird. Why? I have no idea why that happened. If anybody knows, let me know. Okay. Okay. Now, for me, this is better to my eyes, just to see. My cat's playing with her toy. They love that toy. It's gonna make a ruckus. Well, I don't know what they want. Looking at me. Hungry. I fed you. Okay, so yeah, if you hear a beeping and stuff, that's a cat toy. Okay, beeping and a swirling and whatever that sound is. Let's change this chair to the seat. Now, there. Now I can kind of get a feel for the modeling a little bit better. Okay. So, what are we doing? Let's go back. Lost my mouse there. Here we go. Okay, so let's go back here. Oops, something is not quite right there. Is that the other side? So it's the lip. Oh. Okay, something is funky. Those faces need to be reversed. See, that's why I like this default material that I created. It allows you to see the back faces. Okay. So here we go. Let's work on this. Okay, so now let's get back to the body here just so we can look at it. So now what I've decided, I need the, let's put the cherry cans in there and the wing. So I'm going to put a frame on this window. Because the window is going to come up. I think I'd turn that thing off. Hold on a second. Okay. So I'm going to, the window might flip up, but the only way the window is going to flip up, given this current funky design, is if this is open. Is that a good or bad thing? Now, if you were packing your groceries, that'd be a need to pack groceries in there. That'd be a bad thing, but that's not what we're doing here. Is there another way of doing that? No, I think we are going to proceed. So this is going to be a many step thing. If you want to open up this back, you have to drop this down. Or is it attached to this door? Yeah, let's do that. Why make it complicated? Okay. And then I'm going to seal this up. I had an interesting plan for this, but so if this can swing upward, well, this first, the steps would be, this will swing out. You could swing this up. That'll open up the back. And then here I'm going to have a door, a hatch for the engine compartment. And then we're going to probably deal with this little section here. Okay. So first things first is let's make this a separate object. Let's take this and just throw it out. Okay, is this the Jeep? Let's keep it on the outside. Okay. And then, wait, that's the group. And then this is, oh, let's make this a component then. Cheaper hatch, replace, okay. I'm going to flip that, bring it over. And just because we want it to be a little bit, feel like a little one unit, and then we can group this. I always name it full. It's not a great name. But okay, now something happened. Something happened. What did I do? So the hatch moved. This moved. Let's get that in there. Okay, so if this has to open, let's try something. We're going to need a And we're going to make a simple hinge. I'm not going to, let's turn off shadows for a second. Although I like them, so, but where did that, oh, we have the ground, shall we? Oh, we do not have the ground. That's weird that that doesn't show up. So let's just make a shape. And I'm going to pick a point. Where's the origin here? Oh, the origin of the shape is right there. That's weird. Let's do it there. Not that odd enough, I never really pay attention to that, although just because I'm in the flow of modeling, but it ends up being pretty important, right? When you're, and I know this, but it ends up being pretty important when you're aligning stuff or you're trying to, especially in Blender. So what I'm going to do is create a rotation point. Just let's do it arbitrary. There. So this is going to rotate this way. That doesn't look right. Why does that not feel right? Here, let's do it this way. I think I'm missing something. Okay. Okay, that was right. It doesn't look right, but it makes sense. Okay, so this can now go here. Oh, an interesting question is, should it be divided? What if it was like 2 doors? That would make more sense. Let's do that. This thing is like a toe, and I don't think that's going to work, but what we're going to do is we're going to keep it. As it can attach stuff. So we may want it to keep this a single door. Oh, let's rotate the whole thing. Oh, did I undo that? Yeah, I think we're going to give it, we're going to make this hinge like bomber monster. I'm going to make these attached to that door. And is this part of the body? And then we're going to learn how we're going to fill in. We're going to have to fill in some of this. We'll crudely do that. Yeah, I'm liking this design. Okay, so let's get this stuff. Let's get that. Is that? Yeah, that's mirrored. Let's get that out to here. I think we're going to want to be right there. Question is, do we want? Oops. What the? Oh. These things got distorted. feels slow, so maybe the shadows are slowing down. Yep. Okay. Oh, that needs work. Probably needs to be shaped, but let's do that for now. Get this thing to in case you didn't see what I did, I took this. This was a group, made into a component, and then I put it here, or it was a group, put it here as a group. Wanted to make it both, make this a component, make them a component, but I made that a component and then I replaced it with replace object. Extension. I don't know where it is, but it's in the menu, my menu. No, it's in here. Oh, shit. Tools, component replacer. I use O. So, just in case you didn't know, see what I did there. What in the... Wait, why did that change? That's strange. Camera location style fog. Huh. Okay, we're going to take out the shadow. Actually, we should update it without the shadow. Okay, so now that we have that, yeah, we're really gonna, that bothers me. Don't like it. Now that we have that, let's make this hinge look like a hinge. Let's look up. Let's look up what a hinge might look like. Oh, we had one from a reference already. We want a cool looking hinge to be inspired by. Not seeing any that I like. I mean, that are appropriate. It could be more of a there's some cool hinges, but maybe we're done. What I think this hinge is going to be is we can design something interesting, I'm pretty sure. I'm not seeing anything that's let's have two of them, I think. We're going to have two. Let's see, this is a group. Ruin that line. Definitely burly, which is good. And then as I was trying to make sure that this is swinging properly and has room, it looks like it does. Plenty of room. Let's shorten it. Let's see if that's enough. Yep, still enough. Oh, one's sticking out more than the other. Okay, hinge. There's two parts. One part is going to be fixed to the wall. Let's just make this. It's going to be hard doing this with that in view. can group this. Actually, it's, oop, something happened there. Let's fix that. Yeah, I didn't need to draw those lines there. That was kind of too many steps. So, oh, technically now the hinge doesn't rotate where I had it. Technically it rotates here. So it's a little off, but it still works. And also this would normally be like this. Can I accommodate? Doing that? Or should I not? Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. It's the easiest engineering problem. So let's look at this again. This should be fine. But let's look at it again. I don't know if I'm loud enough in this mic. Just, oh, the mic was down a little bit. Don't know how that happened. Okay, so this would then be here and there. I think that's actually pretty good. And it works. What I can do is also marry the opening lever to in here. It'll look different, but I can give it some little potential consistency of feel. Or make it here. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like. Okay, so now what I want to do, well, the best thing to do is actually separate this. What I was thinking in a weird design look is to do that. Oh, this thing is not actually where it probably should be. It should be there. Actually, hold on. Let's do it this way. Yes, it's over-engineered, but I'm fine with that. I like that. We'll have to notch that, but we'll get there. I don't know if maybe I don't have to. So this is our hinge point. It went over. Of course it did. Why is it? Okay. Oh, didn't go all the way down. kind of moved, which is weird. Okay, that's better. Oh, that's right. I moved the door. So this should move in relation. Is that too long? Is that what it's telling me? Okay. So let's clean this up to make it look like it should. Trying to justify this lip notch. I might not be able to. I'm going to leave it in there anyway because just to keep things moving and not try to solve a problem that may not need to be solved. It's always good to I believe this, I mean, this is a design exercise. It's not a... work product design exercise. Okay. Burly. Overdone, overbuilt, but that's kind of the way I like it. This could potentially go lower. Like right on that seam. That intersection. It does create like a weird tangent intersection, but cool. Okay. We're going to leave it like that. And then these are mirrored. Maybe what I'll do is just there's a handle. Should be this way. No, it should just be this like this. What was I thinking? I don't think that worked. I think I misrotated it. Okay, that's better. Okie doke, okay. Now, to make a little carrier for this. Yeah, the reason why I wanted this to drop down, to have this, to have a little door there and a carrier that drops, that originally that kind of rotates down like this, was it created a better functionality of being able to take the tire off, and so you don't actually have to hold it. It'll just drop down. You know, lower it down, unscrew it, put the mounting bracket up, roll the tire, lift the tire up, pop it up, and put it in place. What that would mean that if you wanted to open up this hatch, you would actually always have to drop that down. useful? Let's take a look at that again. Is that too much? Too little? Let's see. Now I rotated on that axle rotation, which is about, sort of about where it would be. Let's do it this side. And well, I think I still want to do it. I have a way, I have an idea how that works. Because now that down and this open, you actually have a step. It's a lot of crap to do to open up that hatch, but I don't mind. It's over-engineered. And I'm okay with that. It's part of this, the idea of this world too, or at least this version of the world, this segment of time that this vehicle came from. Okay. So here we go on this. So what I need to do is let's figure out. I'm going to work on that now. And let's figure out what this needs to do. So it's probably more like that. Which is not the same angle as this. I think that's what I was working towards. Yeah. Let's position this in a... I was trying to get as high as possible, create some better ground clearance. But where does it need to be? Right there. Is it in the way of that crossbar? Yes. Might move that crossbar. Let's begin to do that. Because that is not working. Okay, that's intersecting. Okay. Yeah, I need to do. I have controls for this. Forgot to do that. Do I want to? This might be out too much. Let's see how close I can get it here. Okay, yeah, I want it to be, I want it to clear this. So it's got to be at least here. But it's still not right. Clear that, so I need to be out, up. Still doesn't look like the right angle. Or I can go to the extreme, which I'm prone to do, but go all the way out. Let's take a look at how it looks here. I think that's where it should be. So okay, now I'm going to build around that position. And so what I need to do is I'm going to take why does that do that? Is that because this thing isn't here? It's so weird. It's obviously not saving animation camera location. That's all it is. Let's update again. Yeah, see, it doesn't save it. It's so damn weird. Okay, so what I need to do is just going to create the platform for this, or begin to create. So for this, I should at least, I'm going to create some, what's going on here? Let's just do that for now. We'll add details later, but I'm going to create, panel. And this panel will come out this way. Ooh, what's going on here? Oh, actually that's not how I want to do that. I want to do another. Oh, wait, do I need that top? I don't need the top. That's right. So here we go. Let's do that. We can delete. We can move that. Okay, cool. Eventually this might just be straight up, but or I think what might be more appropriate is this. Yeah. Yeah, much better. Okay, so and what I want to make sure is all of these should be unique, but let's see. Should they be unique? Yeah. Actually, no, I'm going to create a new mumbler here. I'm mumbling myself, but I'm going to create a new element here to strengthen this suspension. It's just a box, but I'm probably going to tweak it, but I don't. Oh, I could tweak it now. There, that's a tweak. So in this panel, this comes out. Let's see what it's like in the front. That's kind of how I want to do it in the front, back. This is, let's be reversed. For some reason I added a thickness to this thing and I'm not sure why. I don't need to do it. Not yet, at least. Oh, I know I did it. Makes all the sense in the world. I'm going to do it this way, though. Let's eliminate all these. Okay. Okay. That might be all I want or need to do. Oh, frankly, this is going to be, that will be in the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete this. And we'll figure out what we want to do with, we set those panels up, but that's okay. That's cool. So now that we have this surface, what we can do, what we'll need to do, let's go to the bottom, is we're going to build this platter for this thing. And it doesn't actually have to be that wide, so, oh look. I'm sorry I missed you guys' chat, been too focused. Thank you. Star-Lord. I appreciate it, thanks. Thanks for the compliment. And Alexander, you're interested in to find out that SketchUp is still being used. I have not used it since. Google sold it off. It was free. Yes, it was. Since Trimble bought it, it's not free, of course, as you stated. And it hasn't changed much. There's lots of little different things that added to it. They added like AI rendering and ambient occlusion, and maybe that's not little, but it's little-ish. And yes, it does kind of have the SolidWorks feel of the SolidWorks. It definitely has all the right tool sets. I need to put timestamps on there. Yeah. How long ago was this? Not long. So yeah, the tool set remains pretty much the same. Very, very similar with the added rendering elements, which, at least on screen and stuff, none of that's changed. But there's ambient occlusion in the renderer that I don't really use. There's, you know, you can add it in the styles. It's to me, I think it works for certain things, but it doesn't work for what I'm doing. And then the AI renderer, there's new material stuff. Tags, I believe they added since Trimble. They may not have. Tags were sort of the way of, they changed layers to tags. And so tags are more interesting than layers. I mean, work better than layers. So that's kind of nice, and it just allows you to tag certain things as certain elements, and you can change the visibility. So it's not it's not much different. The speed has been a little bit better in terms of rendering, or in terms of on-screen rendering, but maybe not. It's pretty slow, because when I turn the shadows on, you can, and I start working, it's really slow, but, or it slows down. It's not really slow, but it slows down. And also, these models are probably overly complicated, but there's other models that are people are doing architecture that's very complicated, more than this even. You know, maybe if you're putting HVAC and stuff, that's like, it's really heavy. So it's more of a presentation tool. The modeling I love, so that's just, it's just the thing that I like the best about it. So yeah, that's about it. And I still use it, and hopefully people are interested in watching me model on this stuff. But other than that, you know, if they are, they are. They don't have to be. So what I'm going to do is create this panel here, this platform. I'll do the mirror thing. That will hold the tire. So it's going to be kind of like that. So let's get this into a component, make a component. Yeah, if you're using, I don't know what you're using now, and I don't know if you're still here, but if you're using SolidWorks, it's definitely the way to go. In terms of, I mean, your I don't know what your application is, but in terms of designing objects and products or things that will actually be produced, it's probably the way to go. SketchUp file compatible to other CAD stuff. Yeah, you can export in the Pro version. They give you a little more export. You can export. That's not what I want to click. You can export in various formats. I don't recall. I think DXF. Where is it? Collada, DXF, AutoCAD, DWG. Yeah, there's plenty of formats. Even FBX, right? I think. Here, FBX. Google Earth RKMZ. OBJ. The success rate on some of those are not as always great. It's pretty good. But when I bring over things, I bring things to the Blender, and when I bring things to Blender, I bring it over. I can import them in with a plugin in Blender that imports SketchUp files directly. Then I use a tool to clean up that file, which basically is several button clicks, and boom, it'll automatically eliminate some of the extra lines, extra verts, hanging lines, and soften some of the faces from the extra geo that might be in there, and then make try some multiple tries into quads where it needs to be. So you can do that there in Blender, and I haven't tried it in any other program, I don't think. I've done it like in Unity, and so they have an importer too as well. Yeah, that I was using for 3D stuff and using for VR things. So yeah, there's several programs that use SketchUp, and I think that can import directly in SketchUp, and if not, you can import a DXF or CAD, any CAD format file. can't guarantee how clean it is, but mileage may vary on that. Because the way SketchUp models are very different than plenty of other tools, and how they force you to create volumes or create certain surfaces and stuff like that. So, but that's sort of the appeal of SketchUp, the way it builds stuff, the way you model. Again, not always the best method, but for me, it's the most engaging in terms of how I want to think about designing and building. Because I'm designing as I build too. I'm solving problems and I'm sketching things out in this form without having to think too much about how to procedural model stuff and things like that, so on and so forth. So that's the gist. And ask away all the questions. Don't mind them at all. And don't, enjoy answering questions. I think it's part of this, part of streaming. It doesn't, part of the reason too is to engage people here. Hopefully. So I was going to make this round, but I decided not to, because besides the rim, is there anything else here that is round? Besides the wheel stuff and bolts. Oh, and the turret. Not much. Actually, that might be a cause or reason to make that round. It would visually match-ish. But I don't think so. Yeah, SketchUp is definitely easy to learn. I learned it pretty quickly, but I'm used to 3D programs. But I had a friend never used a 3D program and learned it in a couple hours and was building interesting things. And if the longer you play with it, the more you're going to learn. So to SketchUp is bad because it's difficult to backtrack on mistakes. Yes, but I would argue that most programs are like that, except for ones that do procedural modeling. And if you're doing procedural modeling, then that's a whole different ballgame. But once you start making mistakes, yes, so you kind of have to, learn from that. But also in turn, it hides those mistakes, can hide mistakes pretty well. And that's actually the argument of why that SketchUp is probably not the most quote unquote professional tool. So, but that's, to each his own, to each of their, what am I trying to say? To each their own. Yeah, and in fact, there's no reason to. How do I want to do this actually? Especially if you're learning, it's great. You can start here and then learn the mistakes, and then go to another program. Oh yeah. SU, SketchUp. Thanks for answering that chat question. There you go. Okay, let's see. I want to do a little bend in here. And there's an interesting way of doing this, and I am going to redo it, what I just did. Let's see, I think the body keeps this. Yeah, it doesn't really help me. There's a lot of things in here that are... Ooh, what happened there? That's not how I wanted to cut that. So what I'm going to do is... Oh, see, there's an example of hidden mistakes. I don't know how that happened. But luckily I can spot them pretty quickly and solve them. And things like this where you're working in the dark. Actually, let's do it. I want to eliminate that. Okay, so I'm going to take this line. This is the easy way of doing it. Or one way of doing it. And what I'm going to do is take that. Oop, take that. And do follow. There you go. Oh, almost perfect length. Okay, so then now I can tuck the tire in actually deeper, which is good. And that's actually pretty perfect. Pretty perfect. Now what I want to do is line up this. SketchUp is a kind of a way to do this, but not easy. Okay, I need just a little bit more. That's enough. Maybe a little too much. And then I'll cap it. Oh. Oops. I won't make it such. It's giving me these errors, and it solves these errors, but it knows that there's a little bit of a weird intersection extrusion problem there, and SketchUp solves it, which is crazy, or cool and good, but might become broken in another program. I see the way of making silly things happen in SketchUp is simple but easy to fix. But in parametric, modelers like Inventor. Once the model breaks, it's a nightmare to fix. Yes. I mean, there are levels of breaking too. I don't even. And plenty of people, what plenty of people do is they import models from CAD or whatever they're using into SketchUp, not the other way around. So they go into SketchUp and then they create their visuals from here. Maybe not high. Well, you can do with V-Ray and stuff like that. You can do realistic modeling or rendering. But what people and what I like about SketchUp and what people and I use SketchUp for is to be able to convey what that object or what you're building pretty easily. Like let's see. This is SketchUp's pretty much SketchUp's default view, right? And so there's very SolidWorks and some of the other models. You get a real sense of the object you're making, which is great. Those do that really well. But a lot of models like Blender and AutoCAD, or even AutoCAD, Blender, AutoCAD, and 3D Studio and things, and Maya and things like that, you don't get the sense of this structure. You don't get a sense of the shape in terms of graphic elements like this. It's all very, you have to have lights, you have to do a lot of things to actually make it work. Some modelers actually, you can add in lights pretty quickly and things like that. But yeah, this is one of the reasons, this is not the only reason, but I like the way this works. If I can make Blender work this way all the time, I would. And I kind of do, but using different methods. In general, what do you think about 3D Warehouse? Well, what way? 3D Warehouse is great. It's great to find things. Like, in fact, I need to be finding some things with 3D Warehouse. Like, if I want a piece of furniture, I'm not going to build it. IKEA furniture, like, somehow, I don't know, people have been uploading, and even official manufacturer have been uploading items into 3D Warehouse. So you can get real HVAC, real in quotes, I don't know what, but you can get pretty accurate HVAC and pretty accurate kind of manufacturing goods or manufactured goods on 3D Warehouse. And if that's what you need, it's great for that. It can be great for that. But the models can be hit and miss. Some of them are great. And then plenty of them are not. So, but I find a bunch of stuff on there, like props and stuff I need for when I visualize, use SketchUp to visualize scenes from things I'm going to be shooting, films and stuff like that I'm working on. I will download props, even for this graphic novel. So this, as an example, this tire is a Hummer tire, Hummer rim and tire. Super well, it's modeled really well. This is from 3D Warehouse. So I went into 3D Warehouse, looked for tires, saw a lot of bad ones, and then saw plenty of good ones. And this is from a Hummer. And I like the design. I don't know if it's accurate to a Hummer. It doesn't matter to me, but for my use. But that's and this, I don't know if it's the same, and it wasn't the same Hummer, but I downloaded a Hummer model actually from SketchUp as well. A different model. This didn't have the tire. I don't know if it had this rim and tire. It might have a different one. And it had this hatch. It had a hatch. And it wasn't built very accurately or the way I wanted it. And then I built this using plans and stuff. So it's a hit miss. And that model I needed for something. And then I just imported it into here just to kind of get a sense of how you would design something like this. But I'm going to change it. I'm not going to change the hatch. I'm going to change this part. So yeah, it's a hit and miss thing, 3D Warehouse, but it's super great to look at. In fact, if what I probably will do, let's see, what time is it? Got an hour. What I probably will do maybe tomorrow is I'm going to look for this stuff on 3D Warehouse. I will model all this stuff mostly, but all these little greeblies and switches and stuff like that I'm going to use for this interior of the Jeep, the dash and console and stuff. I'm going to look for this kind of stuff, because I can build this. This is very easy to build, but if I don't have to, I'll take a chunk of it and I'll modify it and I'll put it in. So it's a good starting point. Can be a good starting point, can be a good endpoint. Yes, I believe, okay, this is ISS. These two things are ISS, I believe. This is the Apollo command module. This one is ISS. And then I obviously like the shuttle tile details here. And this I am so into this stuff. So design wise and stuff, and I love the way this I'm not sure what this is. This might be ISS. Doesn't look as boxy as it would be, but I love the way this what looks to be something you can hold and then spin and uncouple. I love this design. This is the interesting kind of shapes and the way it blends in. It's great. So I'm going to use some of this. This is inspiration for some of the details I'm going to put on the interior and some on the exterior in here for our vehicle. But let's get back to this so I can get to the interior. Yeah, got about an hour. So I made this hinge. I might bring this hinge over. Oop, something happened. Why did that move? Strange. Okay. So I'm going to bring this hinge over. I need to bring both parts. Yeah, I love that. I mean, I believe you are correct. Apollo program, the greatest engineering effort ever. Yep. I would say that's pretty good. Okay. That's weird. So this is what happens when you don't, when you do an incomplete follow or extrusion, whatever you want to. SketchUp doesn't. Yes, from Earth and Moon and For All My Can. Yes, I think I've seen all those. Yep. I'd like to call myself a space nerd, but I don't think I have. I'm as smart as other space nerds, or have all the details. But yes, it's I love all that stuff, and that's probably why I like, you know, the engineering elements from them. Like this window here. I mean, these are heat tiles, right? So they're supposed to, you know, shield from heat, capture the heat, and just. But I want to do. I like these little details. And frankly, I love the way every little piece is labeled, which is something I would do on this Jeep, and I would love to. Would love to do that here. So, but those are kind of things that maybe a little bit out of the realm of what I'm working on. Too much detail. I'll add it when it's necessary, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to build it into everything. So, what do I think about the people who say we never land on the moon? You know what? It's a mistake not to believe it, but they have a lot of theories, and I don't stand by them, but that's wild. I don't know why. People. It's general distrust for the government. That's what that is. I didn't get that hinge in here, but let's talk about this rotation. So if I and let's put these two together. Let's get this tire off. Tags. Let's just make it untagged. Let's take this and this. Oh, actually, let's do it this way. Yeah, people are wacky with that. I mean, you could see how people might get to that point, but the problem is that once you should, you know, start learning the reality of it, or the science behind it. So that's what that's going to do. Let's take a look. I think this is the ground. Is it the ground? Yeah. Now I built this as that I was going to mirror it. I was going to flip it. But there's a part of me that loves that it's just on that side. And there's a part of me that wants to make this asymmetrical. Like not, that's a little too much. Let's see. And talking about engineering, this again, I mentioned this before. This is not how you should be building this or designing this. Just to get into this hatch, you have to lower the tire, and then the tire's in the way to get inside here. That's not customer friendly. But this is the military. And for me, I have a feeling that they would have figured out, oh, we need a tire. Let's put the tire in there. Can't put the tire on the door. Let's put it on here. So, and I liked how I'm into how all this stuff would function, even if it's not appropriate or not exactly user friendly. And then these windows will pop up. They will. This is not the right rotation, but it'll pop up. But I have to reinforce them. So let's get that done. So let's bring this back. And yeah, I think I am going to make this asymmetrical, but I'm also I want to bring it over just a hair. But I also am going to let's bring this over. Let me see. I'm not sure how many bolts are going to be on this. Wait, where are the bolts? Oh, you know what? This thing somehow I haven't been injured all my life, and when I watch programs on Polo Pro, I feel I would be given anything to be a part of that team. Yep, I understand I understand that feeling. I get that. Definitely a lot of lots of interesting problems. I'm not an engineer, but I think there's a lot of cool things about that world, especially. So what I want to do is I'm going to gosh darn you. I don't know why. Do you think SketchUp would be smart enough to do that? But and then this is Pumply. Oop. Yeah. Here, I'll share something with you. So when Curiosity landed on the moon, on Mars, I built an actual version, and then I built. Let's see, I'm trying to find the latest here. And then I built the hot rod version, and this is the hot rod version. It's loading. I want to make sure it's the right. Yep, it's right enough one. I think it is the latest one. So I built this. Super hot rodded version of Curiosity, the rover. So yeah, this is me being, and I took, let's take the shadows away here. Oh, what's going on there? Oh, this is on 2026. Okay. So I took details from all the engineering specs and all the that I could find, and built as much as the details as I thought was possible. I'm not even really finished, because this part of it, let's see, where is it? All this, and there's a whole segment in here needs to be finished, but this, yes. So I tweaked this thing up. Now I built a scale version that all the rims were the same size. Didn't have this flaring of the power plant. The body was squared off, because I just tweaked this thing out. This was fun to build. This was all in SketchUp. This whole, and I'm pretty sure this is accurate, but I was guessing on a lot of stuff. So yeah, adding guns, that would be. So the great thing is I've taken some of these elements and I've put them into this current project that I'm on, which just totally makes sense to do that, since this is very accurate. I'll probably want to put these hubs on something, not maybe the full suspension, the titanium, I believe it's titanium suspension, but the rim, but the hub itself, this is pretty darn cool. Yeah. Yeah, this was fun. Like every one of these bolts, making this thing, this tray. Yeah, this thing was cool. The ribbon, and then the little logo. So yeah, on the arm, this element, yeah, this is like, this is I consider this a masterpiece. The object itself, not my work, but you know. So yeah, that's a show and tell. Let's not save that. So I'm totally in that zone. And I'm going to see Project Hail Mary tomorrow. I have tickets. So. It's not in the warehouse. No. I don't know. I have a tendency not to share these things because they're kind of personal. But, and they're for projects and things. That wasn't really, but. You know, it took a lot of time to make that. I don't know. It probably would be popular. And if I could monetize it, maybe, you know. Not that everything's about money. But. Let's see. So. So here's an engineering problem. Let's see. Let's take a look at this. And I'm going to get rid of the tire. If I wanted this to land flat on the ground, how would I calculate that? Is there... And it feels okay. So when I did it before, yeah, I got tickets for tomorrow. It was supposed to start on Friday, but the theater here is showing it tomorrow. So I want to go see it. So yeah, I mean, The Martian, I watched so many times. You know, whatever you think of Matt Damon. I love the engineering of the art direction of it. It's great. So, yeah. So that'll be tomorrow. So it looks like if I were to do that, this thing would have to the rotation point would have to be right here. Or even further down. And that ain't gonna work. Am I correct? No, I'm not correct. Am I missing something here? What am I missing? See, even if I... Oh, yeah. And I haven't read the book, but yes, of course, yeah, they're going to leave out a lot of that stuff. I do want to read it. I need to read it. There's a lot of science they left out. And a lot of problems, because he was solving a lot of multiple problems. I mean, they did that in Apollo 13 as well. In the film, there was lots of course corrections they had to make, or lots, whatever that means, but it was several. I think there was 3 or 4 that they didn't want to, that they felt it was just too repetitive to include. So a lot of that's just storytelling. So I'm going to live with this the way it is. Let's see this again. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, and I think also that's the great thing. I mean, it's the great thing about books and the great thing about movies, and sort of the difference is that and some people might not find it that great, but that's just there are cool things that can emerge from a film that you would never wasn't explained in the movie. And there are things in the book that might necessarily work for the film, or vice versa. You know what I mean? So, guides. I'm not sure what you mean by guides. Oh, for example, in Arrival, to talk about what changed in books in the film. In Arrival, in the book, the aliens were speaking, or were sending, or communicating through like what would effectively be a Zoom call from their planet. And in the movie, they changed that and had them actually in the ship and actually there. So, what worked in the book, because it's a very sort of a cerebral experience there when you're reading. It's very introspective, reading the text and stuff like that. In the film, the presence of them helps, and the dangers involved. Again, that book is or the movie's shorthand of the entire story. But okay, so I'm gonna cut this. We're gonna. And I'm not sure what you mean by guides, but right now I'm not using anything to guide. Well, except for this. I'm going to match this to the best of my, and doesn't have to be accurate. For this, I don't think it. This is kind of a piece that somebody engineered. And I'd imagine somebody in the engineering team built to solve a problem. Does it need this little kink here? Does it need this? No, maybe not. I'm just doing this because I think I want the hinge to be a little more centered. I want one of the hinges to be centered. It probably should go over a little more. So the weight isn't torqued and twisted too much. But other than that, this whole thing is going to take a lot of weight. But I want this to be, I don't want everything to be symmetrical. So, and now we can put the hinge on here. Let's use the same hinge, because that's what would make sense. guidelines via the ruler tool. Oh. SketchUp is really good with helping you guys, but I don't. First I do the measurement of, like, let's see. Let's go back to here. First I'll figure out the measurement of how big this thing should be compared to the character. And this is the character that's going to drive this thing. The question whether or not would be that this vehicle designed for this character, because this character is over 6 feet tall. It's like 6'8". Well, actually, let's measure. I don't remember how. I think, here it is. And we're just going to do rough. Oh, this says 10 feet 6. That's not good. He's not 10 feet. Yeah. So I need to use guides, I think. I need to use that. So I imported them over from another thing. I should check that. But let's see. Does it matter? Does it matter? Does it matter? I can scale this whole thing. It won't matter. Everything is scaled to this person, this character. And then what I'll do is, to match the entire scale, I'll just scale it down. So, but to answer that question, I don't, as soon as one object, everything is in relation to another. As soon as you start building I start building the volumes, everything is designed around extending from that. So I don't know if this is 3 inches, 2 inches, 10 inches. I don't know how big this is. I don't know how big the tire is. Everything is volumed based off of, the visual gestalt. So yeah, that's it. But to the point, I definitely need to scale, and I should have built this to that scale, to his proper it's built to scale to him, but I should have built it at the proper scale, at the proper 1-to-1 scale. It's a little too big, but for the purpose of this, it doesn't matter because I'll just shrink it down. Now you drew a line for reference, but you could have just dropped a guideline, not used for scale pattern. Could you use a guideline? I could have used guides, and I do use, well, yeah, it depends on what you mean by guide, but like, I did ultimately, I think in SketchUp so for example, I think this is partly what maybe I hope I get what you're saying is correct. When I built this part, I don't know what angle this thing is. I created this. I don't know this angle. And in fact, that angle is deceiving because when you look at the whole vehicle, you could see, well, technically this vehicle is rotated, like the body of it, it's leaned forward. So I use that guide. I use the surface as a guide. So I said, okay, this plate needs to be on this surface. I want this to be flush, mostly flush with that surface. So I'll start with one line and then I'll build like that. I didn't draw a line. I made I don't know if you saw that, but I made a square. I did this. and it's able to draw to that square to, I think it's, it's accurate to a couple decimals. So, and then I can build it from there. And then I can, so I'm building that object. Normally well, depending on what it is, normally I might build it object separately, like this weapon, I built it separately, and then I put it on there. And so normally I build it like as it meant to be, flat and with, you know, everything square or whatever. The line through the center, not important, just use choice. Yeah. This line through this center is just a way of, since everything is mirrored, or not everything, but plenty of things are mirrored, it's just a way to have a guide to what is centered in the vehicle. So if I need to flip something, I can flip that. So what for example, let's see, like this whole thing, let's take the shadows off. See how slow that is? It didn't move, but now watch, boom. So I can take that, and I can take the center of this, and I know that I can go use the inferencing, and I can just pop it, my cursor onto that line, and boom, and I know it's going to be centered to the whole vehicle. So yeah, that's why it's there. That's going to be gone and eliminated. And I don't really need it because there's center lines throughout. But when I was starting out, especially with the suspension, if you took the body away, let's see, when I was building the suspension, I didn't have a whole lot of reference points. I didn't have a lot of center points to go by. So for this, actually, let's take, is this a component? So this, let's make a component. I'll take it, move it off to the side. I'll flip it, and then I'll move it back. But I have, again, for this I have itself, its mirrored self to like pop into place. But for, if I were doing that for a tire, let's say this had 4 tires, and it wasn't being mirrored in the component, I can use that as a way to bring it over and mirror it. Yeah, hello from New York. It's getting late there, huh? Well, it's not that late. 8 o'clock. Almost. Let's get this back. So probably not, it seems like I'm not going to get to the dash, the interior today, but that's okay. I have something to do tomorrow. But I was able to build most of all this. And you know what? I may hop on a little later just to work. I'm in a groove. I gotta have some dinner, feed the cats. But let's continue with in the next 20, 30. So what did I do? I did that. I have the hinge still. So let's see. This part is the attachment. This part is on the And the excuse to reuse all this stuff is like, this is pretty heavy duty for this, is that it'd be easy to repair because you already have, you don't need, let's say, 10 different bolts. You can use 8 different bolts. So for this, look at that. I'm not even going to measure. I'm just going to do that. Steph, evildoer. Uh-oh, doer of evil. How's New York? It's getting hot here. I don't even, it's really, really warm in Napa. Okay, so let's, I'm going to move that over to the hinge, to this. Group. Right. I'm going to take this hinge. Yeah, I want to get this window done. And I need to close up this. So I want to close up this. Close up that hole. Oops. That was a delete. Evildoer, what brings you here? Guspert's an engineer. Somehow he found his way into a SketchUp. Well, that sort of makes sense, but I am not the engineer. Did I do that right? What's going on? No, I did not. I think I did that backwards. This is the mating part. This is the, okay. I don't know who. Okay, you're a special person if you find SketchUp modeling entertaining. I do too. I find it entertaining. I find the action of doing it. It's what I do. To me, this is like my meditation. So, okay, that's the inner part. I just lost myself in this whole. Okay. That's the inner. No, that's right. Is that right? Yeah. Now I just have to rotate. See how. Ah. Yes. Yes. Interior design is great for that, isn't it? I use it. Oh, see, I did something wrong here. I use it for my cinematography sometimes when I want to plan a scene. I could. So I don't know if I can. I don't know if there's anything new. I can show you. You probably know more than me. I can be the fumbling mumbler about SketchUp here. Although I did have a reputation back in the day. I was once, well, I guess I'm maybe still known for creating some insane SketchUp models. Okay, there we go. Hinge. Okay, so like let's see. So what I'm building is, and I've showed this before, but you know, I could always show it again. Oh, well, I just showed my rover model. That's pretty insane. I built all this in SketchUp, which is nutty. So, yes. Been known to do little nutty things. Okay, let's check to see if this works. Check to see if this... Gotta get rid of the tire. Tags are your friend. And that's the hinge. And boom. So it's not quite flat like I would hope, but it doesn't need to be. And then this door opens. So I'm going to take, so ultimately this is going to be put into Blender. And then rigged. All this stuff will be rigged. The suspension will be rigged. Be able to turn it. When you're turning, the wheel will turn. This will be rigged. This will be rigged. This will have, you'll be able to open and close these things, which will be cool. It'll be a lot easier for me to build my scenes. So. Oh yeah, we just took them out 3D warehouse. So you put a model up there. I like experimenting with quad modeling and subdivision for SketchUp. Quad modeling. Yes, and subdivisions. All weird science. I've done a little bit of that, and it's like you're one step away from making the thing. And it can be awkward, but it's cool. Lots of cool stuff you can build that way. Okay, how do I want to complete this? Like this. Okay, so this is the interior shape. It doesn't reach the door, so let's make that do that. The hatch is that. We can eliminate that. We can push this out, and we can push this out to there. There. I know it's a challenge to see, but when you get used to, when you're in the progress of building something, as you guys probably know, that you have a sense of where everything is, even though it looks like a mess. Like this definitely looks like a mess. I can get rid of the, well, I can get rid of the body, that would help. And the turret. Okay, so there's an angle there. Oh, I made that right up against there. And then this, normally you would put a, is that thing angled? This is weird. See, this is what I get, I build out of. That angle is weird. I don't know why. I'm okay with it, but it's interesting. Was your tire made with flat surface extrusion and then plug in? I didn't build this tire, but yes, there's a lot of things you can do with this. Here, I'll let me bring up that other. Let's bring up this other model. And it's been a while since I made a tire. And this is 2026, which I don't really use that much. So for this, how did I do this? What's going on? Okay, so for this, let's get rid of the shadows. I pick a section and it's on a, here, I can do this real quickly. Oh. All right, Gus and Knight. Thanks for joining in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I don't know if I can show this simply, but so for this, basically what I did was, I believe, I'm trying to remember, is I create a circle, extrude it, and I created each section. So I created extrude from here, then I extrude from here, then extrude here. So there's like 1, 2, 3 surfaces, let's say, for example. So I would make that and that, add another one, right? Obviously this is not to scale, it's probably more like that. And then you would shrink these down to create that tire. So now you've got that shape. See that shape right there? So now you have that shape that is kind of similar to this shape. Let's see if I can solo out this. So it's kind of similar to that shape. Or at least from here to here. You can do the same here. And then you just I'm still trying to remember. And then what I did is probably, I think I created a cutout for this, and then fused it with that shape, and then you know, you radially spin it around, like you said, for 360. And I did that for this too. So I created one surface for this, and then I create another surface for that side, and then I cut those, and then I did a follow me to create this element, and then after that I cut out this edge, and then you can do another follow me to create a beveled chamfer, if all that makes sense. And then I do another boolean to do this, which I don't think I really need to do because it really just intersection that. But I wanted this line in here. I don't know if all that makes sense. Yeah, radial array with components, especially with this. If you're going to modify something, you can do radial array with the components, or you can kind of lock them in and fuse them together. Most of the time people do the component thing. This isn't, this is one piece, it's not a component, but it would be better if it was a component. But this actually, I had this inside face in here, and you could see how I created that. Like I drew that's flat, you know, drew two circles in there. Actually I created a center circle, three circles, and then I created another circle, and then I pop up, and all you do is do one, and then you flip it and create the other one. So it does make sense. Okay, good. That's just the shorthand of all that. They're a little tricky. Like all this too is tricky. Like I made these things, and that's tricky. Because I also wanted to make them curved. So I had to follow the curvature intersection, and then you radial array them along this. And then, you know, I always try to keep a center axis, and that's what that is. These little dots. It's the center point. And that's your friend. That's always where you're going to go to, where you're going to build all that around that. Purge selection. Okay, I don't know what I'm purging, but I'm okay with that. So yeah, there's a lot of radial elements and a lot of cutouts in this model. So that's how you would do that here. You would create one little section, and then you array it. But I got this from 3D Warehouse. This tire, because they're kind of a pain in the ass to do. They're fun to do and a pain in the ass at the same time. But if you know, if you have a concept and there's not something this is utilitarian, I didn't need anything special, so I just saw the Hummer tire. This is actually a Hummer rim that I thought was useful for this, and so awesome. Grabbed it off a 3D Warehouse, and as they say, Bob's your uncle, huh? I don't know. Somebody says that. That probably can make you seasick as I'm spinning this, but I'm looking at all the shapes here. So what I'm going to do, this is a weird shape. What's going on there? Oh, I see. And that's not Ooh. Ooh. It's messy. That's all right. What I need to do is I'm going to build just this, like this platform. I'm going to build a platform here and then cap it off here and go across. But I'm going to go, actually I can go straight across from this. That'll start. That'll be a good start. And I want to intersect with the door. Boom. It doesn't, looks like it curved. Probably because I did a follow. But I'm not worried about, again, I don't need to be perfect on that because, you know, in the novel, the book, the graphic novel, you may not see that. I don't know if I'm going to see that. But even if you did, that's fine by me. That shape. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, this is messy modeling, but let's do it. This is my hacking way of doing this stuff. So I'm going to do that. And let's see. Do I need, and then I can do this. Don't get rid of all that. Oop, don't get rid of that. Nope. Group, delete, and extrude. See, there's a little funkiness there, but I'm okay with that. That little double. Okay, so the question is, do I want to continue? I could continue this over. Let's see. How does that? If I were to do that, this is that the center? Nope. Oh yeah. That is the center. Yeah, if there's any other questions, let me know. I'm going to flip that. And I should seal this up. I mean, for what I'm doing, it probably doesn't matter, but how am I going to do that? I'm going to do... Again, this, I'm not necessarily worried about these intersections just yet. It's not, it's good enough for the application. And what I need to do is make sure that is there. Let's get that purple line. There you go. There. This is an example where extrusion is not always the best tool. I don't need to do that much though. I need to just do this. Feels a little messy. Not gonna lie, not gonna lie. I know how I'm gonna solve it though, so. Yeah, all I need to do is this. Then I can continue that down. Come on. Something funky going on. This is how you know you're really breaking your models. You're doing bad stuff. It's not, oh, there you go. Maybe that helped. That's solidifying that. Okay, and then it's intersecting there. No, it's probably not on the green. Oh, it is on the green. Oh. Let's not make it on the green. Okay. That's getting finicky about this shape, this interior element. That's probably not totally necessary, but so now that's got a platter. Oh, I need to continue on here. Whatever that shape. Purple. There you go. Okay, I'm going to keep it that way. I'm not worried about that. And there you have it. It's totally closed in. Right? Is it oh, it needs to be mirrored. And let's do that. So this is part of the body, right? Oh no, this is part of oh, I think did I hit? See, I'm getting lost in the model. Is that part hidden, or did I delete it? see. Oh, yep, it's hidden. Okay, let's get in there, unhide it. How come it's not unhiding? Oh. That doesn't make sense. Does not make sense. Buddy. Yeah, for some reason I can't unhide that. Do I work from memory, imagination, or blueprint? I work from my imagination generally. Like this vehicle, I took some reference and inspiration from some couple other drawings and other vehicles, and then I started building pieces and slammed them all together. This particular vehicle that I've been trying to build for this story has been a challenge because I built like 3 different ones, and they didn't seem appropriate as the story was being developed. So this has become more appropriate for that story. So yes, usually more in my imagination, and I'll take inspiration. So I'll take inspiration for, like, let's say this big weapon from other games, not other games because this is not a game. It's from some other. This is from a game, some weapon designs from that, and some different shapes. And then I'll take it, model it, tweak it. So I built it out, and then I had this shape. Oh, we can't see it. I built it out, and I had this shape, and I ultimately didn't like it. It didn't feel right for it, and then I ended up with this version and added a handle and stuff like that. Now looking back, this shape actually does work, but for whatever reason I wasn't into it at the time. But then I landed on this. So it usually starts from like the cube and then start sculpting it from there. Sometimes I'll have a sketch or a drawing or something that I'll start with, and then trace over it and do a bunch of little tweaks, and then start extruding and cutting away and Boolean things. But this is definitely this was definitely like a mishmash. I don't even know what I started. I had this suspension built from another vehicle that I made, and then I tweaked that, and then I built this shell. I kind of blocked out the shape, and then I honed it in and carved out some of the surfaces. I wish I've recorded all the stuff I worked on this, because I would make some interesting time lapse to see all that thing built up. And I'm going to plan on doing that for the stuff I'm working on right now. Everything right now. But everything is kind of in, I don't think there's a couple whole new models I'll be building, but this is the one vehicle that's sort of throughout the story that is it's pretty significant. So yeah, it's carving and tweaking. And then, you know, like I had this bumper. I figured out how this panel to this hood and this thing connected. And I knew I wanted these things extruded away from it, or, you know, pushed away from it like a bumper. And this graphic face. And I knew I want the lights kind of tucked in here like little angry eyes. So I kind of developed it from there. Originally I had round lamps. And then as I was looking at, or was figuring out how this vehicle differs from other stuff in the world, I started squaring things out. And then everything else is going to be a little bit more organic. Or not everything, but on the other side of the world, things are going to be a little bit more organic and round and things like that. So, like I can show you, I'll do another show and tell. Because this is, it'll be good to show the difference. And this is, let's see, where is it? This is an example of how I built this. This vehicle is inspired by the space shuttle, or the Saturn V launch pad. And then I modified it and built it, and then it became this thing. So this is the antithesis to that other vehicle, right? And so, let's see. I don't have a good style inside here, but let's put shadows on there. This is going to be slow. Okay, maybe it's too slow. So this is the antithesis of this. So you can see all this is going to be is round. The shapes, even though they're hard edged, there's a little bit of flow. There's a big round dish. These pipes are I'm gonna put this in Blender. I'm gonna fill this entire gap in here with pipes and stuff. Organic, flowing things that won't look like it has much, you know, organization to it. It's going to be like a jumble. These are going to be removed. I should just remove them. Let me get rid of this shadow because it's and then there's going to be this exhaust. I'm going to redesign this all in Blender. So in Blender I can do all these organic shapes and stuff. I'll probably, in SketchUp, I'm going to go back and sort of fix some of this things that need to be attached, some of the engineering stuff. But this is the difference between this, the big lots of eyeballs, and this. So you can see here it had there's a lot of round in this version of the. And then when I brought it in here, I realized I want these two things to have different faces, basically. So this face has, do you think about this thing, because this is a big machine. This is its face, this whole front. And this is the vehicle's face. So you want these, I wanted these two faces to look different. And so that ended up being like that. So that to that. So that's the decision stuff I make along the way. And okay, so What's the time? Oh, it's 5:30. It's a little. It's getting. Probably should end it here, but you know what? I really want to get this done. I want to get this back done, but let me think about how this works. Oh, I had this. Sorry, I had this in the way this whole time. So, yeah, now you can see all that. I keep doing that. It's hard to see. I should put this on my other monitor. That's what I should do, so I can see exactly what's going on here. Yeah, that's probably better. Cool. So if you look at this, I'm going to go back to this. What I want to do for that back and the front is something in this that has that kind of heaviness to it, the beefiness to it. And then tomorrow I'll get to the interior and I'll add all that stuff. That's tomorrow. But today we're going to do this. That beefiness might be a challenge. This portion, let's see. This portion I may actually, I'm doing in Blender. I'm going to solidify that in Blender. But actually, quite frankly, it would be easy to do here, or just using my methods, or using my quirky methods. So I might, you know what, I might as well do it since I did it for the door. Let's go that route. Oh, this is losing it. I'm going to close this. For some reason the visibility is there. Oh, no, still funky. Draw distance. Okay. If I were to do this, this is so unconventional. And it's even harder to do because of all the other features. Okay, why did that not seal up? It's probably twisted, that's why. Yep. That too. And let's go across. Okay, well, I'm not going to work on that. We'll get this going. So it's not very square geometry here, but I don't need it to be for this, what I'm doing. Ah. Didn't realize that was doing that. I'm going to cap it to here. Is this intersecting? No. Oh, you subscribed. Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, you know, oh, Fredo's push and pull. Yeah, I need to I need to dive in. I don't use it. I think I have it. I just don't use it. But yes, but I appreciate you subscription, joining in. That's awesome. Thank you so much, and enjoy your pizza. Enjoy the pizza. I probably should be quitting. The cats are going to be hungry. Cats are hungry. This is a mess. Do not recommend this modeling technique. And I think I'm going to not continue. Blender solidify. Oh, I'll try Fredo's thing. That's what I'll do. The solidify. That's what I'm going to do. But I'll do that. I'll do that tomorrow. So I'm going to cancel out of all this. This is like, now you see the, what the heck? Why is that? Now you see the ups and downs of doing modeling like this. I'll keep that, but I'll just check. I'll check in with the Fredo. So awesome. Appreciate it. This is probably, should be the end. Let's bring the model back. So what did we do? And we're going to do our little review, recap of today. So what we did was we finished off the back area here, which is great. That's one of the goals that I had. I tend to have too many goals. We added and in conjunction with that back plate, we finished off the hatch. We made sure that this was functioning in terms of hinge, so it can open up. Turn off the shadow. So we have a hinge, it rotates, it opens up. Also we have the spare tire. We aligned up into a good position to create this spare tire plate. This carriage, the holder, that will plop down. It's hard to do without tires, but let's see. The tires in place. But so this pops down, boom. So you can go into the back. And so next time, so what else we do? And then we continue this plate back, but So this is going to be solidified in Blender, or maybe we'll try Freddo's to plugin, which I really should do because I have it. And then and for tomorrow we're going to bring in. Tomorrow we're going to build out this window a little bit, and then we want to do the interior. Want to work on the interior, and then hopefully that gets us to like 90% finished. I think that doing those elements would be great. And the rest of the stuff we can finish as we go along the way. But I will call that as a SketchUp finish. We'll figure out what happens here too, maybe. Yeah, this will have to be solved in SketchUp. That's part of the design phase. So that's it. That's it for tonight. Thank you. And hopefully you'll be around. You can catch me tomorrow. I'm probably going to be... I have to end early for sure, or at least by 5. Because I got a movie to go to. And so I'm going to start probably, hopefully I want to early. Early as in 1. Maybe earlier. But then it'll be a 4-hour stream. So... So I want to put in that time for this to get this done. Then I'd be done with this, and then for now for SketchUp, and we'll move on to the next thing. Which, well, I'll surprise you. It's going to be some environmental work, some scene building. So to that end, thank you so much for hopping in, everybody. Chatting away. It was great to see. And until next time, like and subscribe, all those things, and we shall see you tomorrow.